Hello and welcome to Round Robin. I'm your host, Robin McCormick with the City of Hampton. And today we're going to talk about all of the public works services that the city offers and meet the man who's in charge, Lynn Allsbrook. Welcome.
Okay, glad to be here.
I have heard your name since long before I came to the city. You've been here a few years, right, Lynn?
I've been here over 25 years.
How did you end up in public service? Was it like what you were going to do?
When I got out of college from Old Dominion University, my first jobs were with the state Virginia Department of Transportation, later with the City of Newport News, and then I came to Hampton 25 years ago. So I spent my basically whole career in public service.
And, you know, if you're educated, I guess, to be a traffic manager, you know that going in. I mean, if traffic engineering is your field, that's largely a public service field.
That's public
There's
service.
Not a
we
lot
touch
of...
everybody's lives every day.
Yeah. Why is that important?
With all the people that are going to and from around our jurisdictions in the city, the region, or whatever, providing a safe and reliable transportation system is very important.
It is. It's not just the frustration of sitting in traffic. It is hugely safety. And
right.
the timing and the way the roads are constructed and intersections, we forget, I think, because they are pretty darn safe. We forget to stop and reflect on all that work that you do that's invisible to us.
Right, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. A good example would be our citywide traffic management system. And also centralized, computerized system where all the signals are tied back to a central control center that remotely we can change the signal timings, monitor maintenance activities. We have closed circuit cameras at about 40 high visibility intersections that we get a complaint, we can actually zoom in and look at those cameras. And a lot of them are on 511 Virginia.
Yeah,
so
right, which is partnering with the state,
right,
with VDOT.
You go there and look at those.
I have lived here for a long time, more years than I want to say,
yeah.
But one of the things I have noticed is the very steady improvement of flow on Mercury Boulevard. Like when I first moved here, I would do anything to not drive on Mercury Boulevard. It had the access lanes, it was slow, it scared me. I would like take all the side roads. But now I find taking Mercury Boulevard is the fastest route almost always.
Right. We try to retime our traffic signals every 3 to 5 years. So basically we come in and we get regional CMAQ money, air congestion mitigation funds. We hire consultants. They come in, they take traffic counts, they go analyze those through software, and then we implement those, and then we fine tune them. And to really test it, you do travel time runs before and after so you can compare how long it took to get from A to B. To see if you're successful. Then about every 3 to 5 years, we redo them because traffic volumes are constantly changing.
Sure, where people works changes, when they shop, all that kind of stuff.
That's correct.
Now, when you say, I don't know what CMAQ is, we try not to use acronyms, but that is federal funds?
That's federal funds, congestion mitigation, air quality funds.
And I forget that because not only is sitting in traffic frustrating for me because I'm not where I'm trying to be, but it's really bad for the environment.
Right.
You're putting out extra air pollution when you don't have to.
That's correct. And signal timings is one of the effective ways to keep the traffic moving and to help relieve congestion and improve air quality.
So the other thing I hear your name in conjunction with a whole lot is road construction, particularly new roads, road widening. Right. You are kind of the master planner who knows how to work far enough ahead and work with VDOT to get a lot of state funding for the roads we build. Right.
We're constantly looking ahead and with the funding that comes through the Transportation Planning Organization, the TPO, the regional body in Hampton Roads, and VDOT, you look out 6 years. So every year you're looking, what projects do I need to get on board 6 years from now? And we've been very successful over the last 20 years with regional money, with state money, which is also federal money, to do a lot of transportation improvements, from anything from new traffic signals, signal retimings, safety projects, road widenings, those type of things.
I don't know that people always understand that because when something is 6 years ahead, we as busy working people don't pay attention. And then all of a sudden, the project is starting.
Right.
And it hasn't been in the news a lot in between. We talk about the 6-year plan, people's eyes glaze over, and then boom, you're working on a new road. How do you think that far ahead and do that kind of planning?
I mean, you're constantly looking at changing traffic volumes, maybe economic development in a particular corridor is changing, things are getting geared up. You need to have your roads ready for that. You identify safety problems or issues that you could get a project that would go correct something, add lanes, things like that. So you're always looking at those things.
So you're looking at problem areas, and you're also looking
Correct.
at where development is going to happen, which I
Correct.
think is the case with, the Magruder corridor, Commander Shepard, that expansion that we're trying to do on Saunders.
Correct.
We know there's
Right.
going to be more cars in 2, 5, 6, 10
Right.
years, and so you're trying to have a place for them to fit.
Right, like Saunders Road, for example, we got the funding for that in 2005, and that project should be finished the end of this year. So it's taken that many years from start of engineering, right-of-way acquisition, to getting the finished product.
I don't think people outside government understand that. I still don't understand it, and I'm inside government now.
Right.
It's a very long process. Like economic development is a very
Right.
long process. We forget how far those of you in planning are. Your mind isn't always on today. It's out there.
You got to be looking ahead.
Okay, but on today, one of the big concerns that residents have is road quality, road resurfacing.
Right.
How do you plan that? How do you judge who needs it? Which neighborhood screams the loudest?
Right.
Who comes
Right.
to city council?
We
Yeah.
actually have a logical way that we go doing that. We partnered with VDOT a number of years ago to use their contractor to come in about every 3 years or so, and they go through and do about 500 lane miles of survey with a sophisticated vehicle that picks up all sorts of data on the road surface. They get camera images.
That is so cool. Like
Whatever.
they drive the road and it
Correct.
measures things and takes pictures.
Correct.
Oh, wow.
And then we process that data, and it's rated on a scale from 0 to 100, with 100 being the best, 0 being the worst. So we use that data to kind of sort it out to figure when the ratings are like 50 or below, we need to give some attention to that to get it programmed. And then with the maintenance money we get from the state every year, we turn around and try to give every neighborhood district in the city a portion of that resurfacing. So we're constantly doing something in every area of the city every year.
So you make sure it's spread out.
It's spread
now,
out.
you mentioned, and I know this is something you understand, but I'm not sure the rest of us do, the state maintenance money.
Correct.
Basically, the state of Virginia gives Hampton enough money to repave X number of
Right.
lane miles a year, right?
Right. Right.
If we wanted to pave more, because you and I know that there are roads that could very well stand to be
Right.
repaved, the city would have to do it all on the taxpayer dime, right? That's what our limit is.
That's correct. And that's another area that the state has come up with primary extension funding, which is kind of maintenance funds that gives the city the ability to get an extra $1 million a year. And we've gotten a number of projects over the last several years to help enhance our pavement marking program or pavement program.
So this again is you understanding
Right.
the VDOT funding system and using all of those inroads that you can
Correct.
to help all of us.
There are a lot of funding sources. You got to be looking at them. You got to know what applies to each program, your due dates when you get your applications in, and what data is needed.
That is a very boring but
Right.
important skill
It's
to
important
have.
things.
It's critical because it allows us to do
Right.
as much as we can utilizing funds that aren't 100% city taxpayer.
Right. A lot of the projects we get are close to 100% federal or state funding combination with minimum city dollars that go toward these. Saunders Road, for example, was 100% federal and state funds, and it was a $16 million project.
That saves us a lot of money.
We would probably not have gotten it done if we didn't have those funds.
No, absolutely
there.
not. That's the cost of a fire station. I mean, you start
Right.
thinking about what the choices are that taxpayers and their representatives would have to make, and it's tough.
That's correct.
So thank you.
We're constantly
what
looking
you
for
do.
that. And we invite the public, if you think of projects, you know of projects, you can call 311, put a ticket in, it'll come over to engineering and public works, and we can look at those things.
Let's talk about how 311 works, because I don't know that people entirely understand, and sometimes they want to call you directly or call Public Works directly. 311 kind of is Public Works. It's a number of our departments, but they enter things into your computer system.
That's correct. That's the quickest way to get a service from Public Works is to call 311, put a service request in, it gets immediately sent over to the Public Works Responsible Operating Division, and then we jump right on it and we can respond very quickly.
Yeah, it's like faster than calling you. It's faster than calling your council member.
That's correct.
Really
That's correct.
the direct route. They are kind of your reception desk,
That's
basically.
Correct. That's correct.
As well as the reception desk for a whole number of people, which makes their job complicated,
Right.
but it's a great system for citizens.
They'll give you a ticket number. You can track it. When we complete the work or have a resolution to it, we put it back in the system, and there's a history. So we have to pull a particular history up on a particular address or location. That's all in the database that we can look at this service request.
So your background is the part that we've talked about, but when you became Director of Public Works, you expanded your portfolio to a number of other services.
That's correct.
But 311 is, again, the call center for all of that. You now deal with stormwater ditches, which I know a lot of calls come in about, potholes,
Right.
one of the
Right,
big banes of drivers everywhere, trash collection, bulk trash, all of that stuff.
That's correct.
Are you, well, I guess you and Parks are the two largest departments in the city, but I mean, it's a big portfolio. How do you manage all that?
The different operating divisions, they really step up to the plate and take the lead in their responsible areas. When we have emergencies like snow, for example, they come together as a team to support our streets division, drainage, solid waste, or whatever we need to do to pull together as a team when we have the bigger events.
And that is one of the things you do too, is I think some people outsource maybe trash collection, or there's other ways of doing things. And you outsource a lot of road construction and a lot of projects you put out to bid and hire folks. But you have a certain amount of vehicles and people trained to operate those vehicles so that when there's a hurricane and there's sand everywhere, or when there's snow removal, the people who are supposed to pick up the trash that day could very well be plowing the roads.
Correct.
That is a really efficient system that saves us all money too.
Correct. I don't look at there being, we have emergencies and the need. I don't look at divisional lines as being boundaries. We all work together as a team to get the mission accomplished, so that the roads are open for the citizens and drivers and make it safe.
And I think, the city looked into doing more contracting, and that was one of the hurdles, that if we didn't have those people who pick up the trash, we might not have the vehicles you can put a snowplow on and the trained staff who could operate. I will tell you a story I probably have said here before. There was a snowstorm, and my mom was having surgery in Newport News, and I drove along Mercury Boulevard, and it had been plowed. And I got to the city line of another city, and it hadn't been. And I went all the way up to the hospital in roads that hadn't been plowed. You guys are kind of amazing, the way you start in the middle of the night and you do pre-treating, and it's a long and arduous process.
If you get ahead of the storm with the pre-treating, for example, that you mentioned and everything, then when the snow event comes and you get a couple inches on it, it's a whole lot easier to work with it. It becomes slush, and you can push it off a whole lot easier than doing nothing.
All right.
In there.
Well, Lynn, I want to thank you for what you do, but I'm going to also ask, are there things that we as citizens can do to help you guys operate more smoothly, which cuts our tax bill or our waste removal bill or whatever those separate fees are?
Right. One of the big things right now that we really like to get the public's and the citizens' cooperation in is with our solid waste division to, when you put your toter out on trash day, make sure you roll it back in the evenings to your home, then put it back out the next collection day, the next week or whatever. When you have bulk collection, it's limited to 10 cubic yards per week.
I don't know that you've always enforced that. So I think it's important that people understand that we're serious about that. And you can't put out everything you own in one week.
That's correct.
Okay.
You need to try to stay with that 10 cubic yards, because if everybody put out more than they could, we couldn't get our routes picked up.
You wouldn't be able to finish. And, you make exceptions after natural disasters, certainly after a hurricane or even a bad nor'easter. There can be many more piles of branches than there are. But remember those limits. 5 feet long, 5 inches wide. I mean, try to make it so that the equipment and the staff that you have can complete the routes. And you put on extra routes in special occasions, but we shouldn't have to do that every week.
Right. Our goal on a typical business day is to get everything picked up that day. I mean, sometimes you have a heavy volume, it goes to the next day, but generally speaking, they work the hours necessary so that everybody gets their service every day.
But that also means putting your trash toters out there on time.
That's
Remembering it,
correct.
putting them out on time. So, you know, you come through once, you do it. We're very efficient.
Every time the truck has to come back and circle back for 1 or 2 cans, you know, there's time and delay in getting the whole route completed.
That's right. Okay, Lynn, is there anything else you want to add before we close?
No, just call 311 if you have any public works service request. That's the easiest way for us to respond and take care of your service needs.
Okay. Thank you. And thanks for your long and important career here. We appreciate it.
I like it. Okay.
And thank you for watching. I know it's rare to get the Director of Public Works, so I hope I've asked the right questions so that you know what it is they do. Thanks for watching.